What's up, y'all? It's the Kid Big Boss Fable Footwear Fabian. I'm back with a reaction video, and today I'm reacting to a Brian and Roger interview from Queen. Brian and Roger from Queen. So this is taken from the On Fire Live at the Bowl. I guess this is an item from a bonus DVD. With that being said, but this is obviously a show that they played or a live performance, right? So like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Fort Worth Fabian, man, it's the road to 10K. We're almost there. We passed 6K the other day. We're about to knock down 7K, and we'll be at 10K before we even know it, man. That being said, keep engaged with the content, subscribe, notifications, turn on everything for the channel, man. And follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Fort Worth Fabian. Let's get into the reaction. Oh, why are you tapping the boom like that, dummy?
Okay, can you tell us how content are you so far with the tour and how it's going so far here in Europe? What are your impressions?
It's been very good. Yes, we can't wait to get to Vienna. We will be hot by the time we get to Vienna. So watch out. It's been very good. We sold loads of tickets and we've had not many complaints. It's been good, very hot.
Yes, we have a new light show that we think would be interesting. It's been a long time since we've been to Austria, to Vienna, and it'd be nice to get back. You've missed a couple of our last light shows, but this one I think is the best one we've had so far. So we're still working it in. By the time we get there, it should be really working well.
It was very impressive. Can you tell us how long you basically work on the preparation first before you put the stage show together like that?
About 3 minutes. No, actually, there's a lot of planning on the technical stages first, and we see sort of drawings, and which we sort of think that'll be good, and then they make models of the lights and things which we like, and we sort of work on it with our tour manager Jerry Stickles, and then they build the things in the end when we get to rehearsals, and then we try them out. And
I've always commented, I've always complimented on the stage production. Queen shows, bro, like, if you look at the lights is one part of it. Sometimes you're gonna have, visual effects, sometimes you may have some pyro, who knows. I'm just speaking in general, not Queen, but in general. You got props, production design, you know what I'm saying? But the stage production, bro, especially like this being a lot of the performances I've seen being in the 70s, the 80s, etc. Up to par, bro. Could go on a spiel about this all day, but I like to emphasize, bro, the aspect of stage, the aspect of live performance, so many intricacies that go into that, bro. It's not just being able to have stage presence. There's so much that you can do in terms of creating an experience for an audience member to where it's memorable for them, to where they'll never forget that show, man. And that's just a part of the creative process. Artists that take as much pride as they do in their live show as they do in the studio, bro, are really, really hands-on and passionate artists.
See if they work.
They're still being modified at the moment, actually, because when this lot was first built, they found there were so many degrees of freedom, no one could really control it, because you've seen these things, they're like animals almost, and we had to do some modifications to the circuitry to make it so that one guy could actually control them a bit better. But they're very challenging because they can actually interact with the performers, so we're just getting used to them. As Roger says, it takes a while for them to get used to us and for us to get used to them.
Yeah. Because it's not standard equipment. It was equipment that we had specially designed for us, and these are the only ones that exist anywhere in the world. So
I like seeing Roger talk.
it's quite interesting to work.
He seems very outspoken.
It's now officially the 10th year of the band. Do you think that nowadays it's very difficult to stay together for such a long time as a band?
Yes.
It is hard, yes. It's very essential to stay together. I mean, the first essential of being a successful group is that you have to stay together, really, in a way. It sounds stupid, but that is something that a lot of people forget. Some people get to a certain point and then think they can do it on their own, and most probably you can't. And the only way we do manage to stay together, I think, is to keep the balance between us and know when to leave each other alone. So we're four very different people, and the differences become more apparent as time goes on. So we just kind of back off each other and let each other have their head in certain directions.
And it's a good question in a way, because it's a very simple but basic truth that a lot of bands don't seem to realise, and they do let their egos run away with each other, and after they have some success they tend to think, I'm too good for the group or something, and they go off and they want to leave and they break up, you know. And it's very important not to do that, I think, and very few bands really manage to stick together for a long time. It's a good thing, really.
Do you think that maybe also the way that bands are together changed a little bit? Like maybe, I don't know, 10 years ago you were together all the time, and nowadays it's more like meeting each other for recording and preparation, and then everybody has time off. Is it more that the image of a band or the way a band works changed a little bit to the 60s or something?
It's difficult, because I mean, when we started off, we were sort of virtually almost living together. But now we're working, and we weren't working that very much because nobody wanted us. But now, although we don't live together, we all live separately. But we're working so much, we see almost as much of each other as we did really in the early days. So it's different, but we still see just as much of each other. Really. It's quite sickening, actually.
It's disgusting.
What can you tell us about your
brothers,
album,
man.
Hot Space? It will be out very soon here in the market. After having heard it once, we can all say that it's again different. Do you think it's something characteristic about your band that you're not always continuing the way it was on the last album or the last tour? Can you tell us something about that?
Yes, we do feel that, I think we tend to get bored with what we're doing before everyone else does, which is a good thing. So having done a particular kind of music, we tend to say, okay, done, let's try something different. And for this particular album, we had a lot of time. We gave ourselves intentionally about 9 months to do it in. And during that time, we recorded many more songs than we needed. And we just kind of threw out everything which sounded like we'd done it before. So everything on the album is very different, really. I mean, I think some people would be quite shocked.
Well, not all of it.
Well, most.
I mean, there are some things.
It is.
Shut up.
Sorry.
Now, there are the odd things which sort of go back a bit.
Yes.
You know, which it's not all brand new, but a lot of it is very different for us, I think. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, what was the question? The tour, yeah, the tours stay exactly the same, only better.
We just interviewed Mac, who is
Who?
working with you for a long time, or for some time now. What's your impression on him? What do you think of him?
He's German. Oh, he's very excellent, and he was a big shot in the arm for us in the studio, because we just got to the stage in the studio where we thought we knew it all in a way after 8 years.
Yeah.
And we had our own methods of doing things. We always mic'd things up the same, and although the music was changing, the sounds were a little bit sort of static. And Mac really came along and changed everything. And he said, "Look, you don't do it like this. We can try it a different way." And we had a little bit of sort of friction. It was hard to work at first, but having got over the initial stages, we now have a much bigger scope, and I think we get much better sounds than we ever
Yeah,
did.
it's fantastic, actually. He's taught us a good way of being simple again, if you know what I mean. And using the studio.
It's funny, I like this shot that they have here. It's like when Roger speaks, they're still focused in on Brian in the frame. But like the mirror behind Brian is showcasing Roger speaking from it's like a different perspective. A cameraman don't even really need to move. We can still see him, but it's kind of cool when you think about
More
it.
efficiently. We really get on very well. We have a very good working relationship. He's a very patient man.
He's very good, yes. And probably the best guy, I mean, he has the best drum sound in the whole world, I would say. He has really a new technique with drums.
Yeah, very good, very good.
Which is hard to pin down, it just sort of happens. At least it appears to just happen, although...
Whereas everybody else uses 12 microphones, Mac will use 4 microphones and get a better sound, you know, which must be good.
So do you think there's something like also the sound engineer has a creative
Oh, yeah,
function?
yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, he thinks the same as us as well, now. We think very much.
Yes,
Which
it
is
becomes
good.
a good unit, really. In fact, we think listening to our old records that the sound really sounds old-fashioned in a way compared to what we're doing.
Bro, there's one thing about if you got a dope engineer in the studio, I always say it's a trifecta. And me, I'm talking more from a hip hop perspective. Hip hop is a little simpler in the sense to where you can have one artist, right? It's not necessarily a group or a band. At the same time, a lot of the instrumentals are produced by a producer. You know, whether it's on a beatbox, where it's on it don't matter, bro. You know, all these digital devices, etc., that people make beats off of nowadays. So let's use a rapper, for example. The trifecta to me is the rapper, the lyricist, the artist, the producer who's organically curating a sound. You know, producers and artists, like the rapper, the singer, or whatever, call her a rapper or singer, and a producer. You know, your No ID, your Just Blaze, your Timbaland, whatever big producer you want to talk about, they collaborate. They're meshing together to find a sound, an essence, you know, a soundtrack that fits the artist sonically. It's like Shaq and Kobe, they go together. Nowadays, you see a lot of producer rapper duos and tandems because literally I'm going to the same producer for every beat because they know the sound. They already got my sound down. Now, keep up with me. I mentioned it's a trifecta. The third part is the engineer, bro. Engineers get overlooked a lot, but literally they're making you sound the way you sound, bro. So give me a good beat. The song is good, or the instrumental's good. I write to it. I body the record. I write an awesome hook, awesome verses. Now it's time to lay it down. It's time to record. Your engineer, bro, he's literally gonna make you sound pristine. And some, you know, obviously the question about the creative process, they're in a very creative realm as well, where they're adding effects to your voice, the reverb, delay, mixing and mastering down, you know, various ways they can make you sound, bro. That's the trifecta. Your producer, your artist, and your engineer.
Now, and you know, a lot of the sort of standard American way to record groups sounds kind of old-fashioned to us now.
Yeah.
Just that there is a better way of doing it. Everything doesn't have to be EQ'd and made sort of over sharp. Things can cut through with their natural sound. It sounds like a load of bullshit, doesn't it? But it actually works. It's very simple and it sounds good. What more can you say?
You got a good point.
Ton master, man.
But do you actually prefer working in the studio or being on the road? What appeals to you better or more?
Being on the road.
Yeah, I think
Well,
me
bro.
also, being on the road. If it's going good, you know. It gets very boring and it gets very tiring. You can see we're very flushed and tired at the moment. It is tiring on the road, but it's more fun in a way because it's more stimulating. You get more feedback, reaction. The studio is long periods of boredom and then just short periods of excitement when you feel you've done something that's good and new. There's so much work goes into each small thing. It's difficult.
It's funny because like every artist has a perspective on this, right? This is one take of an artist who, if you're asking a question, sure, do you like touring or you like being in the studio better? His version is he likes touring, and a good reason as to why. But his whole definition and description of being like the in-betweens of being in the studio are boring unless I'm actually creating the final product and yeah, we got a record. That's when this excitement comes. Of course, I'm assuming he's being very broad in the statement. I'm not saying he's being very detailed in the sense that I don't think he actually believes that wholeheartedly. Because if he thought the studio was completely boring, he wouldn't do it, bro. That's what I'm trying to say. Because they still have passion for the music. So, but over time they've been doing it for so long. I guess this is just the state he's in now. But if he were honestly to speak and say, "Do I hate being?" No, I know he does. He doesn't hate it. But he makes a good point, man. But me personally, I've never toured for 10 years, so I don't know. But I love traveling. I love touring. I've always wanted to be a recording artist. You know, I always looked forward to touring. And as a kid, I always traveled a lot. So I feel like I'm already accustomed to being in different areas, adapting quickly. But yeah, the receptiveness is something that, well said, Roger. Like, it's a good point. But I don't know if I'd ever be bored. Like, imagine, I'm not in their shoes, but I can only imagine to where I've done, music 10 plus years. I've been on the road 10 years. I've released several albums. I don't know what music would be like to me after that. 10 years in the game, I don't know. I probably would be tired, bro. I ain't gonna lie. It's an exhausting lifestyle. Definitely rewarding. you know, exciting and fun, but these guys get worked. And if you know how to work, man, this is your lifestyle. If you're ready to work.
Do you sometimes have difficulties in bringing the studio sound on stage?
Yeah, always.
And how do you work with that?
We don't really do that, do we?
No, that goes back right to the beginning. We always said that we don't really want to recreate the records on stage. We want the stage to be an experience in itself. And the songs are the same, but if they seem to demand a different treatment on stage, then they just get a different treatment. We've made one concession on this tour, and that's that we have a keyboard player helping out the back line, just filling in some parts which we couldn't do, and that's helped a little bit in a way. But
somebody had told me all these guys are like PhDs, or they all have degrees, man. You can tell through the way they articulate themselves that everybody in Queen is a very educated person, bro.
Generally speaking, if you'd recreate a record on stage and nothing else, we think that's really hardly worth doing, because it's just like you might as well just play the tape through the PA, you know? So we like to make the stage performance something special which is never seen again.
Yeah. It's a different medium, you know. It has to be treated differently, because the stage thing is like an experience, and it should be an exciting experience. Well, for us, we feel it should be an exciting visual and audio experience. And just to go on and try and sound exactly like the records is a mistake, I think. So we don't try and do that. We try and get some good feeling and atmosphere and excitement and ambience, I suppose.
Good let out, isn't it?
So it's a different approach, you know.
Yeah.
Do you think that the visual part gets more and more important nowadays?
Not more and more important, really.
No more than it ever has been. I think it's always been important, but people have spent a long time getting it right, really, you know.
We always thought it was, really. And when we started off, it was kind of unfashionable to think that way, and then it became fashionable, and then with the sort of punk and new wave, it became unfashionable, and I guess now it's kind of fashionable again. All these things go in cycles, do they not?
It's definitely fashionable now, man. The visual experience is a big thing, man. That's why I keep saying, whether it's a live performance, whether it's a music video, just the way you're presented, your image. We want to, like, you know what I'm saying? As a fan, bro, the visual part, especially in this digital era, this microwave era, the era of social media, everything goes like hotcakes. Nobody's worried about stuff for too long. So they want to basically internalize stuff quickly and then on to the next, man. If you were just giving me something that I can't conceptualize, I'm not worried about it. But anyways, that's a dope interview. Brian and Roger, man, that's a rarity right now. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, man. Fort Worth Fabian. Let's get it.